used to be interesting. I don't know if it is anymore.
We just talked about Korean and language and how the human brain processes language, and you don't think that's interesting?
No one cares.
I care.
No one cares about Korea. No one cares about the human brain. No one cares. People don't care. Welcome to this epic disaster. Do you care? Do you? Do you care that you're listening to this epic disaster? I just don't feel like you do.
I care.
I don't care who I am, but I am Rick, and Cheri's here, and we're being invaded. Why does that happen every time we do a show?
I don't know, but I see
And
the
you
sweetest little nose.
Push that thing back under there really tight so she stays out.
But it's so cute.
No, but she's going
Look
to
at her little nose.
All right.
My dog is trying to get into the studio. I'm going to fix it.
We try to keep her out. It's like the studio is made of beef or something like that. Anyway, welcome to this epic disaster. Hey, how are you? Now, last week we were at your place recording. You were recovering from knee surgery.
Still am.
How's it going?
Well,
you hobbled over to the studio this week.
Yes, I did. We are back in the studio. I'm doing okay. I had my post-op appointment with my doctor.
Wow, post-op.
Yes, post-op. It sounds so like, I don't know.
Official, medical.
Anyways, medical and official.
Post-op.
They took my stitches out, of which there were 2.
Dos stitchos.
Which was...
That is Spanish, actually.
Okay.
Dos stitchos.
Dos.
Stitchos.
Are you lying?
Yes.
Okay.
That's actually sounds like a brand of Doritos.
Dos Tichos.
Yeah. For the Super Bowl Sunday.
I'm
representing Dos Tichos for... What if we're saying something really in Spanish, actually really horrible?
I think
like
that
your mom's butt.
They're similar
Dos
enough.
Tichos, which means your mother's butt.
I think that the languages are similar enough that if Dos Tichos were bad, we would know.
We will know next week. Someone's going to tell us.
Or tomorrow, or tonight.
I'm positive. You know what goes good with Dos Tichos is beer.
Indeed.
Cervezas.
Cervezas.
And we have some here, which actually...
Cerveza, actually.
Yeah.
Not cervezos. It's cerveza.
We have... I don't even know...
Dos cerveza.
What is this? How do you pronounce this? Do you know? Xocoveza? Xocoveza? I don't know.
You're gonna make me look like an idiot.
I have no idea how to pronounce it.
You're really good at making me look like an idiot.
I don't know. I have no idea what that means.
Anyways, whatever it means, it's imperial stout inspired by Mexican hot chocolate, which means that it's stout brewed with chocolate, coffee, pasilla peppers, vanilla, cinnamon, and nutmeg. Holy fuck!
That's like some kind of delicious
magic.
Some kind of holiday beverage. I'm not sure I'm going to like it, but I also might like it.
I think we're going to like it. It sounds spicy.
2018 edition. There's a whole big long thing here on the back going into which I can't read without glasses, and I'm not going to even try. But this is by Stone Brewing.
And where's Stone Brewing?
Stone Brewing is California, Escondido. California.
If you're from California like I am, you know how to say Escondido.
I don't. Oh, it's very dark. It's very dark and chocolatey.
It is very dark. It's a stout, like they said.
Here's my question. Why is it when we're downstairs, we have dogs, and we're planning the podcast, and we're chatting.
Like we were.
And it's fine. They're taking a little...
Oh, you're going to spill... Fucking told you you're gonna spill.
Barely coming down. They're so quiet, and then as soon as we come up here, it just sounds like they're having a dog fight down there. They're just so loud.
It's because they miss me.
I guess I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna try. We're gonna try this beer we can't pronounce.
Xocoveza.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I feel like.
Please, God, tell me I'm right.
I hope so.
If there is a God, tell me I'm right.
Xocoveza, and here we go. I'm going to try it. I could just lick
it's a stout with cinnamon and, what have you.
It
should be good.
Head. It's going to be
Did you just say I got so much head?
I said it's got too much head.
Oh. Sorry.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I poured it too wrongly, and I have...
You always pour it wrongly.
4-inch head right there, which means it's going to be very spicy, very...
Did you smell it? Holy...
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that is chocolate in a glass. Ooh, and it's got a little bit of spice to it. Not a lot, not enough that it would burn, Wow.
What does that taste like?
Like Mexican hot chocolate?
Maybe, but there's something else that made me think of. Okay, so initially I'm thinking it's got that kind of really dirty, earthy taste, kind of the cinnamon, the tobacco, the dirt, the kind of all of that kind of woodsy kind of taste. It's really kind of dark. But anyway, it's going to be kind of pleasant. Again, we've got dogs barking downstairs. Who let the dogs out?
Who let the dogs in?
I think that's going to be a regular feature of the podcast for quite a while. All right, how's everything going at this point?
Things are going well.
Yes.
So far, so good on the knee, actually. Like you had mentioned, I did just have surgery, and I am walking just fine on my knee.
Walking
it's
dead.
a little, I'm not dead. It's a little weak.
Yes.
But I have exercises to do now.
Oh, like therapy.
I'm going to exorcise the weakness.
Yes.
So, we'll see how that goes. We'll know in about 6 weeks whether or not this did it. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I have to have a partial replacement.
Oh, no, that's not cool at all.
No, it's a bigger surgery. But, if it fixes it, it's all good.
Well, I want to get into a conversation I was having. Now, I don't know. This may be something we want to get the listeners to be involved in.
Oh, that's fun.
With some suggestions, because I've been thinking, I was thinking this week, I don't totally know exactly, but I kind of do, what got me along this line of thinking. Mm-hmm. And I started thinking about, this is kind of weird, but...
You're always kind of weird.
First of all, let me just do a disclaimer.
Okay. Wait. Everybody... Listen.
I want to do a disclaimer for the podcast. For this particular podcast, I'm just going to say that this particular podcast, at some point, I think is going to contain some more sexual language than we normally have on the podcast.
So if you let your children watch murder and death and stuff and Game of Thrones and what have you, that's fine. But if you're like iffy about sex, which some people I know are, just, don't
parental guidance suggested because we're going to be talking about some things, but not this first time. What I wanted to talk about first is, so I started thinking about who is, let's say, each generation. So I'm going to pick 4 generations of I'm not making any sense.
No, you're not.
Who is the Bob Dylan
of your generation?
Of each generation. 4 generations between now and Bob Dylan, who is Bob Dylan, I'm going to go ahead and assume is the Bob Dylan of his generation.
I would hope so.
So we'll put him as the 60s, and then we've got the kind of the 70s. Well, I'm going to say Bob Dylan 60s, 70s. And then we'll have the 80s and 90s, and then we'll have the 2000s.
Well, then that's only 3. You said 4.
We can stick another one in there somewhere. I'm trying to think of each generation would be between 15 and 20 years.
All right. So Dylan is going to be 60s, 70s.
We'll give that to Bob.
But, 70s, you can pull in some other folks because they kind of followed in his footsteps.
But everybody was kind of doing that kind of political thing in the 70s. So,
sure.
But he was the guy. So we're going to give it to him. But we're going to say 80s and 90s. We'll sort of combine those. And then that's 20 years. And then the 2000s is 20 years. From 2000 till now, 2019, that's 20 years. So we're going to say, what do we got? We have 2 decades or 2 generations, and let's put in another one in there somewhere too.
Let's just fit someone in the middle.
I feel like there's only 12 years between you and I, but I do feel like that's a generation.
There is a generational gap there.
Sort of.
But the whole, generation starts here, stops here, starts here, stops here is bullshit. Because there are intertwined generations as well. Mm-hmm. So folks that are your age, say being born in the early 60s, folks that are my age being born in the early 70s. What about the people that were born in the late 60s, or mid 60s? Or what happens to them?
We could put them into
what generation are they
in? Here's the third one would be now. So early 2000s is one generation, and now that's 20 years. So who is the Bob Dylan of now?
Oh God,
generation?
I wouldn't even know.
I know. So that's my question. Because here's why I was thinking, I've been doing a little study and kind of getting into I did some work, caricature work, on the artist Jason Isbell.
Yes,
who I've been
that.
listening to for a long time.
Yep.
And I just absolutely love. I feel like that I think I posted something on Facebook a while back that he's going to save music, but I just feel like that I would consider him almost the Bob Dylan of your generation, because he turns 40 next week, so he's close in your range, in your generation. Music-wise, because Bob Dylan changed the world not through just music, but also through lyrics, and maybe more so through lyrics. And to me, that's the requirement, is you're sort of the poet laureate, is that the word?
Yes.
Of each generation.
Of the generation. Before
and he's not that. Jason Isbell is not that, although he should be. I just don't know that enough people have discovered his work yet. He's still rising in popularity.
True.
So he's still on the way up, and probably more popular now than he ever was, and I think he'll keep getting that way.
Which means he's going to be influential over this generation, which I am not a part of.
But I think he's going to change a lot. I think as a singer songwriter, he's won 4 Grammy Awards. He's going to change a lot. But at 40, he's not going to influence as many young people in the way that Dylan did when Dylan was young.
Right.
So my question is, who were and who will be and who is the Bob Dylan of each generation?
Before we get into it too much, I want to bring up the fact that everybody has seen the meme online in which my generation was left the fuck out.
Oh, yeah.
So apparently I don't have a generation.
All right, well, let's say what this means first. It was something that CBS News did, and they listed the generations. So the boomers, and then they gave the time period. I can't remember. Well, no, it was the silent generation was the first
one.
Then the boomers.
Yep.
And then the Generation X, Gen X. Then
they left Gen X out.
No, they listed Gen X, but they didn't put the years for people. Okay. So millennials, and then who's after millennials?
Millennials were last. They left. I think it was. Oh God. Okay, the first two. And
look it up. See if you could look it up.
All right, I will look it up.
Can you look it up?
How? What are you trying to say about me?
No, I'm just saying. Is it hooked up? Can you look it up right now?
It is. Okay. So, anyways, they left me out.
Sensitive.
Shut up. I feel very left out right now.
Well, they left out an entire generation.
And I'm part of it.
Well, we've had this talk in the past because they listed my generation. I'm 62. And they listed the boomers going until 64, which I'd never consider myself a boomer. I don't think I'm a baby boomer. I think it's a mistake. I'm not a baby boomer, period.
No, I don't think you're a baby boomer either.
But I'm also not a Generation X. I'm not a Gen Xer. And so I'm not totally sure where I fit. But anyway, that's kind of a distraction. That's kind of a side thing. I just want to know, and maybe we use that, as Bob Dylan is the Bob Dylan of the boomer generation.
Moving on.
And then who's the Gen X Bob Dylan? And who's the millennial Bob Dylan? So I think maybe, do you look at it that way? Is that easier?
Who do you think would be your
I have
Dylan?
Tried to think. I don't know. Who is the poet laureate of my generation? And I don't know if this works, but I kind of wanted to say Bono.
Of yours? I think that would be more mine.
No, Bono is my age.
Okay, age, this is what I was trying to explain to you earlier. Age has nothing to do with influence. So, historically, just listen, historically, the musician or artist or poet laureate or whatever of a certain age tends to and always will influence the generation succeeding them.
But what we're saying is Bob Dylan is the generation of the 50s, 60s, or 60s, 70s. That's who he influenced. So
that means that he's mine because I was born in the 70s. So if you want to talk about age...
No, it's who influenced you while you're at the age of being influenced. So usually, let's say maybe high school, but definitely college age. Who were the whatever their age is, the musicians when you were in college who influenced you the most? Because that's what you would say. Like Dylan really influenced the, quote, hippies in the hippie movement, and they were his age. He might have been a little older than they were, but he was their age. So that's kind of what I'm going at, is who's the person with their lyrics, their poetry and music influencing certain generations. So to me, that's what I would say is Bono, because U2 during the 80s, that was the big band, and their lyrics were very vital and important.
Extremely. But they were also very vital and important to my generation.
Well, sure, but Bob Dylan is vital and important to people, millennials now. I'm not saying they will never influence people, younger. You're bound to do that. But when they first came on the scene, who were they really influencing at that point? You see what I'm saying?
I do.
Who's the voice of your generation?
I wonder, like when you discuss somebody like U2, they have had decades-long success.
Sure.
So are they influencing the person that they first touched, or are they influencing the person that they last touched, and how so?
I think all generations.
No, I agree. But like then you can get into the dichotomy of like which album was more influential and which album came out sooner or later.
Well, I think maybe
who touched who.
I think you're making it more complicated than it really is.
Sorry.
For instance, okay, so I
have that effect on
like
people.
For Christmas, my wife gave me the poetry of Leonard Cohen, and I wanted that because it's beautiful,
it's
and I
love
him.
Beautiful thing.
He was Bob Dylan's generation, and probably he was very influenced by Bob Dylan. But he was very much like Bob Dylan, especially at that time. He kind of mutated into his own type of musician, but his poetry, it didn't change a generation the way Bob Dylan's did, and that's what I'm trying to get at, is what the poetry that inspired and moved an entire generation, your generation.
So ultimately, I did find the CBS thing that you're talking about, and my generation and those
Gen X is gone.
Preceding me and succeeding me were both gone.
Don't you think? I kind of wonder if it was just a mistake.
I'm hoping it was a technical mistake,
because they just totally because they have the group 54 to 72 years old, which is such a gap, and then they go 22 to 37. So from 38 to 53, they don't even mention.
Which I'm in.
Yeah.
We don't exist. Apparently, we have no say.
No, I bet it's got to be. It's just a mistake.
I mean, it has to have been some sort of visual glitch.
I mean, you can take a picture of something that happens on TV or anywhere now and just be outraged, even if it's a mistake.
I'm not.
I know, but I'm just saying, I don't know what the background is. I don't know if they totally left it out or if it was just accidentally left off of the TV thing. But again, okay, so let's say the silent generation, I don't know, that's 1928 to 1945. I don't know who the poet laureate of that generation was musically.
I don't either. I really don't.
That's way outside of that's my mom's age group.
It's my father's. Well, no, that's before my father. My father was born in 46.
See, a lot of people your father's age really got into Bob Dylan. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Bob Dylan is the voice.
Dad's favorite was Creedence Clearwater.
But I feel like Bob Dylan was the voice of the baby boomers as a group. And then who's the voice of Generation X, and who's the voice of millennials? And then they've got the post-millennials. So who's the voice of the post-millennials?
You'd have to ask them, because I'm so far out of that loop.
Okay, but I'm asking you.
Why are you asking me?
Again, that's the whole reason. If
I don't know these
if you're going to throw it back, then we don't even need to have a conversation about it. So I'm saying, I'm submitting to you that I feel like
could it be?
It could be Bono for my generation.
Sure.
So who would be for your generation? Okay, we have
okay, so let's go post-millennial right now. I'm going to say, I don't know.
Post-millennial. No, I would figure we do it by steps.
Oh,
Generation X.
All right.
We were talking before we recorded with my wife and you, and my wife and you are in the same generation.
Yes.
And she said Kurt Cobain.
I agree with that. He was.
I don't, but go ahead.
Okay, he was. When you bring up poet laureate, his lyrics meant something. His attitude and his style helped create a genre, which is now known as grunge.
But that genre was defined more by music rather than lyrics. I submit to you.
I submit that you are correct. However,
Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, what bound those bands was that sound, that Seattle sound, rather than their lyrics.
And you don't think that he had any part in that?
No, I'm not saying that. As an artist, as an individual, he might be poetic. He may have changed and inspired people in the same way that Bob Dylan did. I don't know. I suggested to my wife her generation would be Jay-Z or Chuck D.
Okay.
But
I agree with both
I'm going
of
to
those.
say Jay-Z because even though it can possibly be argued that Dr. Dre changed hip-hop, rap music, whatever, more than Jay-Z did, I feel like Jay-Z was more socially conscious and caused more of an artistic change, if that makes sense. And that's in my limited...
So you're looking at both aspects. You're looking at the socially conscious and the artistic change.
I'm saying,
because that's what you just said.
I'm saying, as a poet, as a lyricist, they changed society. Either changed it in all different directions. That's what Dylan did. He made people more aware politically. He changed the music. He changed the art in some ways.
Okay.
The art scene.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm trying to find. Who had that same motivational inspiration in each generation? And has there been someone as vital as Bob Dylan since Bob Dylan? And I think a lot of people might argue no, and I don't want that to be true.
Well, let me just lay a little history out for you. Since Bob Dylan, and since his time, and since maybe 10 years after his time, things have become more, I won't use the word convoluted, but I will use the word more saturated, in that people's voices are easier to put out there than they were in his day. So there may have been 100 Bob Dylans out there when Bob Dylan became Bob Dylan. Okay, but we didn't get to hear them because the accessibility wasn't there. Today, let's just fast forward to today. The accessibility to put your voice and your music and your lyrics and your attitude and your everything out there is at your fingertips when you're a infant. I mean, it wasn't then. So it's very hard, and it becomes harder and harder and harder from Bob Dylan till now to pinpoint who that person is when that person has 100 peers that are just as talented, just as social, just as important. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think the music industry has changed so much that the way Bob Dylan came into being and how he has sustained a career is not the way the music industry works anymore. And if Bob Dylan was Bob Dylan now, he wouldn't have the same career.
He'd just be some other guy.
And so that kind of goes back and endorses my original contention that Jason Isbell is the Bob Dylan of now.
Okay.
But I can say that and then go, well, he doesn't have the same influence as Dylan. He has as good, if not better, lyrics that are just as important, and he's saying some insightful things in a lot of different ways. Musically, kind of the same thing, but I don't know that the social condition is set up the way the society is not set up the way it was at Dylan's time. Society needed change. Society needed a Messiah that Bob Dylan fulfilled. Does it need it now? I don't know.
There's so many other options. It does not.
And so there'll never be another
there will
quote,
never
Bob Dylan. We can't have that.
That's correct.
And then it gets watered down. And then this makes me sad. I don't even know if I want to accept it. But does it get watered down? And let's say Bob Dylan. And for the sake of nobody's offered a better example, I'm going to say Bono. And listeners, if you want to throw out a new example, I'm open to it.
Do it. Yes,
but I'm gonna say Bono, and I don't care. You don't have to like U2. You don't even have to like Bono. But Bono is not just a musician; he's also a lyricist with lyrics that are very important politically and socially,
and have made change.
Yes. So who else has done it? I don't know. Who else is in that kind of genre? You could say Prince, but Prince changed from music. Prince blew us away musically, not as much lyrically.
Right. So here's what I think I've seen happening, because the accessibility is growing so much, and you can do whatever you want and put it out there, and people have such access to it. It's not necessarily like back then. You heard what was on the one radio station, right? Or the two radio stations.
Right.
That's what you listened to. Now you have thousands of radio stations when you consider Sirius and XM and all this. You have so many options to listen to that a musician or a lyricist or an activist even has. You can't go out and just go against. You can't be the voice of everything anymore. You just can't do that. So there are people in our past and in my generation and yours who have been the voice, the Bob Dylan, if you will, of an issue.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just throw this out there. TLC. Let's talk about sex.
Sure. That was not TLC. That was Salt and Pepper.
Oh fuck. No, it wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Sure it was.
No, it was not.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me.
I'm so old.
See, I'm older than you, and I knew that.
Oh my God, I'm so old.
TLC did "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls."
Okay, you're right. Yeah. I got it confused. I apologize. So you pick a subject, you put a good song out that makes a difference.
Yeah.
But you can't then turn around and put another song out about homelessness, or you can, and then turn around and talk about hunger or Africa and people suffering, or Bosnia or whatever, and expect it to get the same amount. You have to kind of pick a issue. So ultimately, yes, I was wrong. I apologize.
Well, I think it was a mistake. I know what you were getting at. TLC did some songs. They did a song about AIDS. They were one of the first groups to do that. They did a lot of songs about sex. And so, yeah, I think that I know what you're saying. Oh, that's yours. I got the wrong. I was looking something up. Well, so I watched a video this week by The Killers, one of your favorites. Did you watch that video? I told you to watch it. Did you watch it?
Of course not. I've had a bad week. And I apologize for that.
I don't know why you wouldn't watch it.
Because, was it important?
It totally.
Okay, listen to me, people. I'm just going to put this out here right now. I have the ability to get depressed. I have the ability to hermit into and to, just kind of crawl into my own hole. And I've been there for a hot minute. So seeing as how I've been there for a hot minute, Rick is making fun of me.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I sent you.
At that, I haven't looked at absolutely everything he sent me.
No, I sent you a suggestion to look at this new video by The Killers. And I'm going to say the same thing for everybody because I want you to look at it. Now, politically, you may not agree with it. But here's what I think. Because we're kind of talking about this, so what the hell, let's talk about it. The Killers, which is what I would say is probably the generation...
I kind of like The Killers.
Yeah, me too. But they're probably more the generation younger than you. They're probably millennials.
Slightly.
They're probably from the millennial generation.
Ever so slightly.
So they've got a new video out called Land of the Free.
Yeah.
And it is one of the most political videos that I've seen any band recently make. You remember Born in the USA, Bob? What have I got this? Beer's feeding back on it. Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA.
Yes.
It's because people started kind of championing that song as if it's some kind of Americana song. I don't know if you remember. No, it's very kind of, it's not anti-American. It was anti-views that some Americans had.
Correct.
And so this is kind of the same way. It's a very political song, but nowadays I think a lot of bands are afraid to speak out or are afraid to do things because they don't want to lose Twitter followers or Facebook followers or whatever. They don't want the backlash. They don't want people getting mad at them, protesting, whatever. So they just shut up. They just do kind of tame stuff.
Sure.
This is very political. It's awesome. It's a great video. Land of the Free, The Killers. It's directed by Spike Lee. It's like a little Spike Lee movie.
Didn't he just win a Golden Globe for that?
I don't know. It's a brand new video, so I don't know.
He might have.
He might. But anyway, go check it out. But anyway, so that song might have fit into this category if it had been done earlier, because I think the Killers do some great lyrics, but I don't think they do political stuff. So anyway, maybe this has gone on way too long. We don't have a solution to the problem.
Of course we don't.
We don't have an answer to the question.
Because you and I are not of the generations being influenced by the people that we're trying to come up with.
Who influenced you lyrically when you were growing up? Who was
Paula Cole.
Okay.
Meredith Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
Sinead O'Connor.
Okay. Sarah McLachlan.
A little bit.
Lilith Tour girls.
All them Apple. Yeah, all them people. However, there were also several. I mean, when I first grew up,
You first grew up. Because the second time, that was hard. The first time.
No, listen. Okay. So you want to talk about the lyrics I listened to growing up as a very influential preteen.
Yeah.
I was listening to,
Primus.
No. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But before that, even, I was listening to,
Skid Row.
Even before that.
Cinderella,
you got some Bon Jovi up
Yeah.
in there. But,
Well, that's late 80s, so
Metallica,
sure.
Slayer.
Yeah.
All that stuff. And not very, politically correct
No.
topics.
Nope.
So my influence musically is broad. Let's just say. Broad's a good word for it. Although you can't call women broads anymore.
Well, I can remember the first time I heard a song by Tupac, and I knew I had heard of Tupac for a long time. And the first time I actually heard a Tupac song, I was like, holy crap. I mean, that's awesome. The lyrics were just punch you in the face.
Yes.
And I mean, I think he could almost qualify for Bob Generation. Why do I keep saying that?
Because it's a Bob generation.
Bob Dylan of his generation. But again, I think he didn't live long enough. Same way with Kurt Cobain. Maybe if he kept going, possibly.
Oh, God,
I just don't see him as being as he might have been very important, but was he the one who changed that generation the most? I don't know.
And then I propose to you, could a person in Bob Dylan's position 20, 30 years later be as influential and make as much change as an artist at that time? Because I don't think so.
Right.
I think that one person with one voice as an artistic individual does not currently have the ability to make as much change as Bob Dylan did in his position.
I might agree with you. I'm anxious to hear if we get any feedback from our listeners. I'm going to submit one person for the youngest generation in here. And this might be millennials. I'll say this maybe for the millennials, even though I don't know that this is true, but I'm going to submit it.
Before you do, I want to make another comment. Is that the people that became the most famous or seem to be the voice of the generation, or we're called that, we're talking Smash Mouth, we're talking, they were...
Smash Mouth was never the voice of a generation.
But listen...
They were famous,
They were very famous.
Sure.
And those were the people that people were listening to. And what did they talk about? They talked about fun.
Getting
they talked
laid.
about fun, basically. Party, fun, have a good time, enjoy your life, screw the man, whatever, go at it, right? And that's what people got sick and fucking tired of politics in their entertainment.
I don't know that's true.
They cut an edge, and they said, listen, we don't want politics in our entertainment. We want to go out. We want to have a good time. We don't want to dance around and enjoy ourselves to, sitting on the pavement, listen to the government.
The same generation that produced Bono produced the Beastie Boys. So you're going to have the politics, and you're going to have the people that just say, let's go party.
Right.
It's going to be both ways. But I'm going to submit, for millennials, it's Beyonce.
Ugh.
Yeah. If I'm wrong, people could tell me.
As a political figure?
What she has done, and I'm not a Beyonce fan. I'm a little old to get into Beyonce. But I feel like
I bet you could get it.
I feel like what she has done more than anything is empowered women. I feel like
I agree with that.
She has become that voice, and that's what's happening now. I mean, when you think what was happening in Dylan's time, that was what he addressed. What was happening in Bono's time, that's what he addressed. Because with Bono, it's kind of like, let's all look at who we are globally.
Right.
We're no longer just United States.
And how can we all assist each other globally?
Yeah, let's take care of the AIDS people starving, all that kind of stuff. Whereas Dylan was like, it was a change in America. Let's wake up. Let's the young people have a voice. Used to, this young people couldn't speak out. It was all about the old people.
Right. You don't
and other
talk
things
against
too.
Your elders.
Other things too. And then what Beyonce is doing now is standing up for women, giving women more of a voice. So, again, if you disagree, I'd like to hear.
This feels like a very, very disjointed podcast thus far.
Well, we went on a little longer with that subject than I wanted to. I thought it was going to be a little easier to come up with something.
Yeah, but I don't know musicians as well as you do. I apologize.
Okay.
Anyhow, thank you for staying with us. We have more interesting things to get into.
Like what? What do you got?
Well, this is not as heavy as what you came up with, but it's much, much more fun.
Well, I didn't think mine was heavy. I'm just looking for names.
All right.
Just looking for ideas.
So let me ask you a question.
All right.
Why haven't we played Zombando yet?
I don't know. Because I thought that would just be a quick thing. And we would come up with 4 or 5 names, and then it would be over, and we'd get on with the podcast. It went on forever.
It did go on forever.
So let's play some Zombando.
Fucking do it.
Jeez.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ is also, he was kind of like Bob Dylan.
I mean, he may or may not have influenced Bob Dylan.
Almost the same.
We can't say
influence.
Whether he did or not.
He just wasn't that great of a guitar player. All right, here we go.
We don't know that because there's no recordings.
Blue. I dropped the blue.
All right. So the blue question is appearance and embarrassment.
Okay.
By the way, folks.
I have a booger.
No.
Oh, what?
So Zombando is a question of would you rather.
Would you rather? Would I rather?
This category is appearance or embarrassment.
Sure. Would I rather what?
Oh my God. This is horrible. Would you rather have a lisp or a wandering eye? Don't you have both?
It's kind of rude and disrespectful.
It's horrible. That's awful.
But I'd go with the lisp. I'm just picking. That's what I would go with.
Okay. Good on you.
Yeah.
No reason?
Nope.
No explanation?
Nope.
But you'd rather go with the lisp.
That's what I decide.
All right.
Got to pick one. I picked it.
Good for you.
Yep.
My turn.
Your turn.
I got a purple one.
Purple one. All right. Here we go. Would you rather eat a dozen heads of lettuce or 2 boxes of uncooked rice?
Oh, good God. Lettuce. Hello.
A dozen heads.
I would eat lettuce for days.
That's also a weird question, but there we go.
For days and days. I'm getting tired of these questions.
I'm sorry. We don't have to play Zombando. Somebody suggested it just now.
I think that we should start finding a new game that we should play. If our listeners have suggestions on a quick little game like this, like any other would you rather.
No one says that we only have to play that. We can always play a trivia game or something else too.
Sure.
If we want to.
I mean, that took what? 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. What next?
All right, so I have this question to you.
A question to me.
Yeah, it's not a would you rather question.
All right.
But I would like you to think of something you said to your dog today.
Think of something I said to my dog?
Yeah. You talk to your dog, right?
Sure.
Okay. We all talk to our dogs,
Uh-huh.
whether we're reprimanding or praising or just talking.
Sure.
Whatever. So think about something you said to your dog today.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now put that in a sexual position with your partner.
The dog?
No.
What
the
you
hell? Said. The phrase.
Oh.
So let's just think about what phrase came out of your mouth when you were talking to your dog. Give me one. Quick.
No jumping.
No jumping.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you're in bed with your partner.
Uh-huh.
Would you say no jumping?
Would I say that? No, I would be saying jump.
Jump.
I wouldn't say that.
All right, so anything else you can think of that you would say to your dog that you might say in bed?
Things I would say to my dog that I would also say in bed?
Or things that you would say to your dog that would be silly saying in bed?
Everything would be silly. Everything I say to my dog would be silly.
Come on, just list some things you've said to your dog in the last day or two.
That would be silly to say in bed?
Just list some things. Just straight up. List some things you said to your dog.
Don't eat so fast.
Okay. See, now if you said that in bed,
yes,
that would be silly.
Uh-huh.
All right. Do you get the point?
I guess.
All right. So I'm gonna say some things I've said to my dog.
Okay.
In the last couple of days. And I want you to think.
Stop barking. Be quiet. Quit barking.
Quit barking. Yeah, I mean, I suppose in bed, if a man or a woman that I were with were barking.
Yes.
If it were excessively loud, I might ask them to stop.
Yeah.
However, if it weren't annoyingly loud, I'd just let them bark.
I would tell them to move. I'm not a really big fan of barking in bed.
All right. How about this one? Spit that out.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay.
I mean.
Yes.
You say that to your dog all the time.
I do. I don't know that I would say that in bed, but okay.
All right. How about, what are you eating?
Ooh, okay. Yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Get your nose out of my butt.
Hey, now wait a minute. Holy crap.
I have said that to my dog.
I actually never say that in bed, but anyway.
So many times.
Uh-oh.
Get your nose out of my butt. I would never, ever say that in bed.
Ever.
Nobody
ever puts their nose in your butt in bed.
It's been a minute. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah. I generally don't like that. But anyway.
Who wants some butt scratching?
You got to move your nose first.
I mean, I think that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Who wants a butt scratching?
Oh, look, I'm making your leg do that thing.
I like that one.
How about that?
Oh, look, I'm making your leg do that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
You got another one?
Stop humping my leg would also be one.
I have another spot you could hump other than my leg. That would be great.
Who wants to potty?
Who wants to potty?
That's my favorite. Who wants to potty?
I like who wants to potty. Stop chewing on your sister.
Oh. I haven't said that in bed in a long time. Yeah. It's been a while.
I have 2 cats. Okay. Now, it's not dog necessarily, but one of my cats used to chew on his sister all
I remember that.
the time. And my comment was constantly, stop chewing on your sister.
Yeah. I remember that.
That would be weird in bed. Anything else?
Share the bone.
Share the bone.
Yes.
Share it.
Share that bone. Make sure that you share the bone with the other dogs who would like to have some bone.
Something I said to my dog just before we came up here.
Uh-huh.
I want to squish your face.
Oh. That doesn't even have to be in bed.
I want to squish your face.
Uh-huh.
And now, if you think about it in bed, though, in a sexual manner, squishing someone's face might be quite fun. Stop licking me.
Some people won't say that in bed. If you poop on the floor again, I'm hitting you with the newspaper. I used to say that in bed all the time.
If you poop on the floor again,
I'm hitting you with the newspaper.
This wasn't while we were together. That's for damn sure.
No, you pooped everywhere you wanted to.
That's
so.
right. Mm-hmm. It's my floor.
Right.
I will poop on it. Yeah. So, also with Kat, please don't put your butt in my face. Because you know how cats love to put their butt in your face.
That's the first thing they do. That's true. Mm-hmm.
So, in bed, it's like if the first thing that your partner is going to do is turn around and stick their ass in your face.
Yeah.
It's awkward. It's awkward. It's a little awkward.
It's true.
I mean,
like that
maybe
with a partner or a cat.
That would be maybe the last thing you do, or somewhere in the middle. Not the first. Not the first thing you do. So yeah.
Is there anything that you would say to your partner in bed that you would also say to your dog?
Come and get it.
Oh God. All right.
Who wants a treat?
Stop lapping up that gravy train. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, what about you? Anything you would say?
I just mentioned 3 or some.
Stop. Really? That was one of them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Things have changed in your world.
I know.
No, you never said that to me?
In my dog world, too. All right. Is that it? Have we covered all of the dog things?
Other than, God, I wish you would pick up your own shit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's that.
Especially in the bed. I say that all the time. I got a news story here I want to bring up really quick before you sign off this podcast. This is very interesting. This is in my home state, the state of Tennessee. Tennessee State Representative Antonio Parkinson is gaining national headlines after he proposed a measure to enforce a dress code on all parents in the state when visiting public schools.
Excuse me?
Can you believe you actually had to have this?
No.
Tennessee Democrat told Today in an interview published on Friday that he realized it was time for parents to adhere to a set of rules.
What?
After hearing a number of horror stories from educators and constituents about how parents dress and behave when visiting the state's public schools.
That's ridiculous.
People wearing next to nothing. People wearing shirts or tattoos with expletives.
Oh my God, tattoos? No.
People coming onto a school grounds and school campus and cursing the principal or the teachers out. Things
what the fuck?
Like this happen regularly, he said. A principal I talked to told me a lady came into the office with her sleepwear on with some of her body parts hanging out.
Hanging out?
You got children coming down the hall in the line. They can possibly see this. Which is,
like side boob?
I always hoped that I could see that.
I mean, side boob is awesome.
Parkinson told the news publication that in addition to the dress code aspect of the bill, the measure he is pushing would also ask public school districts across Tennessee to create their own codes of conduct for adults when visiting public schools. I just think it's a shame you actually have to have this. Whether you're there to work, whether you're a teacher, a parent, a vendor, a visitor, a speaker, anyone who steps on the school campus should be held to a basic minimum expectation of conduct and behavior.
Which should be the same as that when you go out in public.
That includes how one dresses. Though he says he's received criticism of the measure, he told the publication he's also received an overwhelming amount of positive support for the proposal as well. This is a good conversation we are having. We've opened up a dialogue that may have hit some tender spots, which are hanging out of sleepwear
apparently
for some people, but it also may begin to help. What do you think of that? You know,
I have multiple thoughts on that.
We live in a society where, which I think is weird. I'm not going to make this a racial thing because it really isn't, but I see it a lot here in Atlanta when I am in public. You would see pants on young people that were hanging low. Now I see pants that are literally mid-thigh so that the entire underwear ass is just there. You might as well, I mean, why even have pants on?
Exactly. There's no point. They come up just above the knee. Mm-hmm. It's almost like thigh-high pants is what they are wearing.
And again, it's kids. It's not a racial thing. Some people think it is, but I see it from a lot of kids, a lot of different
We're
backgrounds.
Very diverse here in Atlanta, and
yes.
and it crosses a lot of borders.
And you see underwear The entire thing, not just peeking out a little bit.
Full on.
No,
full on.
Where the underwear starts, where the underwear ends.
Midwinter, the only thing covering that boy's butt is a pair of boxer briefs.
Now,
that is literally it.
If a woman was wearing pants like that, don't you think that would be considered obscene?
Yes.
Yeah.
They might actually be arrested for that.
Yeah.
Because it's indecent exposure.
But not for a dude?
Nope. Apparently not.
Interesting.
I don't agree with it.
No, it's just the way things are.
It's just the way it is.
But I think that in light of that, and in light of a lot of things that I see here, especially in the summertime, of people wearing or almost not wearing, I can understand the politician who wants to make rules of how parents dress when they come to school. And I support that. I'm fine. If students have a dress code in school, public school, which they do, even in private school, there's dress codes. I feel like that parents should have those as well.
Okay. I'm about to turn the tables on you just a little bit.
Do so.
Okay. So legally, as long as you're covered.
Well, that according to this, some people aren't. But
okay.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
But those people that you were just discussing, that we were just talking about, which I think is a silly, silly look, in my opinion.
Oh, you mean the pants?
Yeah, the pants.
Sure.
It's legal.
It is right now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not indecent exposure.
It is.
They're covered.
It is.
Ain't nobody showing no butt.
It's indecent.
Nope.
A lot of times to the person
They're
looking at it.
Covered.
Okay.
I could wear pants just as thin of material as those gentlemen's underwear.
Well, you can.
And I can walk down the street.
But you can wear.
And ain't nobody gonna say nothing.
You can wear thongs on a public beach.
Yeah.
And can you wear it?
Beaches.
Can you wear it walking through Kroger?
No. But but again, those people who are wearing their pants down by their knees, okay, almost as if it's a garter.
Well, I don't report them. I'm just saying.
I know. I'm just saying.
To me,
I'm just saying. Their ass is not actually exposed because they have it covered.
Sure.
With fabric.
Yeah.
So that guy who has his pants down to his knees, he has underwear on, and they're covering his entire ass.
Sure.
Okay. So I walk into Kroger right after him, and I have on a pair of yoga pants, and I'm not wearing underwear. Okay.
Right.
And I'm
see that a lot too.
I'm just as covered as he is.
Sure.
So should I be considered indecent as well?
Well, I don't think I said that that was indecent. I was just using that as an example of people who I feel like might not be as sensitive to dress codes as other people when going into public schools. I'm saying there are some people who are more comfortable showing more of their body parts than other people. So I understand the need for that. I have seen women here in our great city of Atlanta in the summertime wearing tank tops that basically only cover the nipple area.
Right. So now you're talking side boob.
I'm talking whole boob, except without just the nipple area.
Okay.
And just the straps of the tank. Now, I'm not reporting. I don't care. What the heck?
No, I know.
Some people are fine. I don't think that's appropriate dress when you're going to school to pick up your kids.
I agree.
Or around other people's kids. So I guess what I'm saying is I understand the need for that dress code. I think that it probably should be.
I think, it doesn't hurt to throw a sweater on.
Yeah, why not? Why not
t-shirt,
put on a little shirt?
Or t-shirt.
When
you're going to walk in. Yeah,
a belt. Yeah.
You're about to go pick up some kids, some influential kids who are looking at you to base their next options on. And you might want to have clothes on when they do that. In our society, there might be some very good societies out there with kids and parents and people who don't wear clothes at all. I don't know where they are, and if you know of them, please tell me. I will move there today. However, that's not our society. Our society covers the private bits. And
well, here's what I want to say. Because we were just talking about this. If you're a dude and you're showing your butt, no problem. If you're a female and you're showing your butt, indecent exposure.
Right.
Often.
Right.
If you're a female and you're wearing yoga pants and you can make out the front shape of your body, Not a big deal. If you're a dude and you're wearing yoga pants without underwear and you can make out the front shape of your body, that's indecent. The male genitalia is considered obscene more so than the female, in my opinion. You can show...
like in your opinion, like you think...
Yeah, because I could say...
That the male... Wait, hold on.
You can have a piece of art hanging in a public place of a naked woman. Let's just say in a bar. You go into a bar, you can have a woman lounging on the sofa with naked breasts and no pants. And nobody's threatened. And you put a dude, even David, but let's just say it's a painting. When I say David, the sculpture, I'm saying.
Yes.
Let's just say it's a painting with a dude with his peni.
He only has one, so it's a penis.
Yes, exposed. Okay. More people are going to complain about that than they would about the naked woman.
Okay.
More people are threatened by the male nudity than they are female nudity.
So
female nudity is art.
You disagree with that standpoint.
I disagree with what?
What you just said. You disagree with that standpoint. You think that that's wrong. That a naked male body should not be considered that any more than a female male.
I don't think I was making a statement of right or wrong. I'm just making a statement that it is true. I think more people are threatened by male nudity than they are female nudity.
But not you specifically.
Am I threatened by it?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't want to see male nudity more than I want to see female nudity.
Or in the same, like would you be fine with it if you were eating dinner and the mural on the wall next to you was a naked woman or a naked man? Would you have any difference? Would it affect you in any different way?
I think so. If I'm somewhere and a woman in yoga pants is in grocery store and a woman in skin tight yoga pants and obviously not wearing underwear underneath, I wouldn't really care. If it was a dude and I could see the shape of his junk, I would be a little more disgusted.
Disgusted?
Yeah.
That's what you're going with.
I think so.
Not threatened?
Well, I'm not. That isn't threatening to me. I'm not threatened by male nudity. I'm more disgusted by it, especially my own, as is most people. But no, but I guess I connect with what I just said in that way. But I still feel like, even from an art standpoint, you see a lot more. You do see male nudity in art, but you see a lot more female nudity, and it's more accepted as art, whereas male nudity, even in art, often is considered more threatening.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. But that has a lot to do with social norms, which is that the man is more powerful than the woman. Sure. So the woman being naked is not a threat.
But we need to get out of those norms.
Oh, I agree.
Stop the
Absolutely.
Norms. Stop the norms. That's our new bumper sticker. Stop the norms.
Stop the norms.
Hey, people, if you're still listening to the podcast, we want to thank you for listening to the podcast. All this nonsense. I don't have answers to my Bob Dylan question. Is it a stupid question? I don't think so. I'm still interested. No, I'm still interested. I want to know who the voice of these generations are. And maybe I missed them completely. We know we're giving it to Bob. He's the established voice of his generation. Who is the established voice of my generation? Who is the established voice of Gen Xers? Who is the established voice of millennial and post-millennial? Do you have suggestions? Please, we need some help. Is it that important to you? It is to me.
It's not to me. I'll be honest with you.
You shouldn't even be doing the show then.
Fuck you.
Okay.
No. Ew.
Give us some hints. Help us out. We need some. We always get some good suggestions whenever we ask for music things. I think our fans like music. And they really do.
I do too.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I just saw the little note that you wrote me, which I didn't see earlier, and I apologize.
What? A suggestion you watch the video?
No.
What?
The 48-minute note. Was that from today?
That was like 5 weeks ago. No. You're just now seeing it.
This is why I'm in middle management. Send me an email. I'll answer right away.
Send us some advice on who we could get as podcast hosts for this show. We obviously aren't doing a great idea. We need some suggestions. Now, please help us out. You can send us suggestions at thisepicdisaster@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook, This Epic Disaster. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram.
If everywhere. You would like to guest host, we would love you to come and guest host.
Again, just guest. Be a guest on our show.
Just be a guest.
Yeah. Anyway, so please give us some feedback. Tell us what you think of the show. No, maybe not.
Maybe not today.
Before we really sign off from the show, we got to talk about this beer.
Oh, that's right. We're drinking beer.
We got to give a review. We got to tell you what we think of what do we call the beer?
Xocoveza. It's so painful to see an X at the beginning of a word that's not Xanax.
Xocoveza. I'm going to say Xocoveza. It's Xocoveza. Xocoveza or Xocoveza. I don't know.
That hurts too.
By Stone. What do you think? What do you like? What do you think of it?
I kind of dig it.
I kind of do.
I do. I like it. It's dark. It's a stout. Obviously, you got to be prepared for a stout.
Yep.
But it has that. It's not overt in its Mexican hot chocolate background.
No.
And yet you can still taste that.
Yeah.
It's very chocolatey. I do taste the cinnamon and a little bit of spice behind that. I could probably have more than one of these.
Back when I used to smoke cigars, I would smoke, and I would keep a little glass of water, and I would put the cigar in there to put it out, and then I'd smoke another one, smoke, and then I'd put the cigar in there to put it out. And then I'd smoke another one and smoke, and then I'd put it in the water.
No,
and
stop
then
now.
I would accidentally pick the glass up and drink it.
No.
That's what this reminds me of. It's got what I would consider kind of a heavy tobacco-y
kind of vomit.
Thank you. It's sort of a tobacco-y kind of. It's that sort of darkness. When I first drank it, it really reminded me of that. But it's got just enough sweet in it to kind of even it out. So I do like it. I'm giving it a 3.5.
Yeah, I kind of dig it too. I'm going to give it 3.5 as well.
I would drink this, and here it's getting close to the end, and I still feel like it's got a little carbonation in it, which is always a good.
Definitely
thing
had a
for
good
me.
head. I mean, because you overdid your head, which is kind of
still got a little bit of burn, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, I think we both say 3.5. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. The good thing is I got 4 more downstairs, so there we go.
I'm taking one with.
Hey, the people, thank you very much. Rented lips. Thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you next week, where we'll probably talk about the stuff we were going to talk on this show. That
I hope we're better, because we sucked ass today.
That's one of the things I say to my dog that I also say to my partner in bed.
Please suck ass.
Something like that. All right, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
This is a Violet Jester Media podcast.